Wow. So, today's review, I'm sorry I haven't made one in a while, but I've got a couple things lined up, so yay. By the way, might be seeing Catoni and David Towns on Saturday. We'll have a show review up if can. It's a touch and go situation right now. Sunday, sorry. Um, so today's review will be the new As I Lay Dying album called Awaken, sorry. God. Alright, for a little backstory for people who don't know As I Lay Dying, they were one of the first wave of, I call it the first wave of the new wave of American heavy metal, aka the metalcore. This includes your bands like, just to go through some of the emotions, you have your kind of Gothenburg at the Gates style bands like the early Shadows Fall and All That Remains, to the more kind of the sound that was really prepared, where it had the melodic death metal elements with the hardcore elements, like As I Lay Dying and Killswitch Engage. As I Lay Dying went on, like most of those bands, to be huge even after the scene kind of got flooded and just basically dwindled out. And they've been getting bigger and bigger with each release, and also more interesting. And when that finally brings us to Awaken, their latest release on Metal Blade Records. Now, my first impression on this is that some things have changed in the As I Lay Dying sound. Not a lot, but it's there. Hold up a sec. Get this out of the way and just track reference. It's a fucking piece of shit. Here we go. Hold up. Nope, that's All Shall Perish. There we go. I just need to get the track listing and keep my notes. I do this all on the fly. It's how I think. So the album starts out with the track name Cauterized. Great track. It has a lot of the principles of the As I Lay Dying sound they've been going with since the Powerless Rise. Thrashier, but still interesting riffing, along with more use of clean vocals. This track is really well made. One thing I have to say about the whole album, about each track, is that they're very well constructed. Even if they are simpler in form, they are still well constructed. Even if it's just a verse, chorus, solo kind of deal, they work really well. Cauterized, very good track. Definitely with the clean vocals, there's bassist slash clean vocalist has gotten a lot better, and I do mean a lot. I love his vocals on the whole album, and they really get that catchy hook that I feel some As I Lay Dying songs are just missing. And this is a perfect example of what they can do with the clean vocals in their song section. Then we come to the single slash music video for A Greater Foundation. You can definitely tell it's a little bit more radio friendly. I don't mean that in a bad way. That's actually a good idea for them. It's got an interesting chorus riff with the kind of delay in the background, very badly distorted guitar doing like the dun 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 dun. Wow, with the great clean vocals by their singer again. Another thing I also like is that the bass is audible, especially on this track. You can definitely see in the Greater Foundation that the bass is clearly present in the mix. Their vocalist, I forget his name, their aggressive vocalist, he does a great job. I've noticed throughout releases that his vocals have not lined up, but they've gone much more clear in the mix. Like when he does his harsh vocals, he's much more clear when he does it. And there's a couple songs in here when he does that, he contrasts with the clean vocals and it makes it just sound epic. We also do have in the bit of progression on this album, especially on the tracks Whisper Silence and Overcome. There's a lot, Overcome and Resilience, sorry. They both have a kind of a more progressive, Resilience has, I think, a slower beginning, and that kind of builds up into this massive track. Both of them build up to be massive tracks. And another thing I just loved about this album is that I got the whole way through it. I was worried about As I Lay Dying since I heard the Powerless Rise, and I thought it was okay, but it got really boring and monstrous. And this whole album, I just really liked. I was able to get through the whole thing. In fact, I was sad when Tears Out of My Eyes was over, because I was like, damn, that was a really good album. It was just it's probably the most fun album they've made. I mean, I've had problems with their previous albums where I haven't been able to get the whole way through because either the tone is way too serious, or they try too hard to escalate each track to another level of aggression. Right here, I think they're staying in a form of aggression and musicianship that fits them. The catchy choruses really help line up the mood. The drumming is very good. Um, another a couple other great things about this, like the harsh vocals. I said the guitars are very good. The riffing, they've been kind of going different. Back when they first started, they kind of had the early metalcore, at the gates, In Flames influenced riffing. Now they're going with a bit of a mix of like um, at the gates meets Megadeth. I would say it's got that melodic element of Megadeth, while it still has that that palm muted open note kind of styling that At the Gates and the rest of the Gothenburg scene pioneered. Um, the soloing on this album is really good. It actually reminds me of like classic thrash metal. Not well, I wouldn't say classic thrash metal, but I'd say like I've said, Megadeth has that kind of old school heavy metal soloing style to it. It's not really like we're seeing these days with like fucking Tonsa Basie, where he's just doing leads out of his fucking mind. It looks like he's just bored as hell doing it. The soloing is just really nice and complements the whole music. If I had to say one issue with the whole album is that there's no real difference from other As I Lay Dying albums. There are hints of progression, like I've seen with uh, bands earlier this year, like Cow Decapitation, where they added melodies and clean vocals and simpler song structures to their writing, where they still kept that core sound at the top of their list. That's what I kind of see here. It's nothing a whole lot different from other As I Lay Dying albums. But that's really my only gripe about it. I mean, it's just a fun, good, heavy metalcore album from a band that has been progressively successful in their whole career as being labeled as a metalcore band. I know As I Lay Dying gets a lot of hate for being in the scene and I don't know, being Christian. I know fucking black metal, no Christian, Gorgoroth. That sort of thing. But it's really just a nice, well-rounded metalcore album. Super catchy, super fun. Yeah, if I had to give this album a rating, I'd give it a solid, 8 out of 10. That might even change in the future, but for now I'm going to stick with that. Um, Subscribe and comment. Keep it metal. Peace.